Casual Magic has been sponsored by Quiver, maker of the Quiver and Bolt deck cases and other fine deck holding accessories. Use the code CASUAL on their website for 10% off your order. You can also support Casual Magic directly by going to our Patreon at patreon.com/ShivamB. And now, on with the show. Welcome to Casual Magic, the show where we talk about the fun side of Magic the Gathering. My name is Shivam Bhatt, and Casual Magic is brought to you by Quiver and my patrons at patreon.com/ShivamB. And today I am very, very happy to be joined by, I don't know, a huge dude on the internet, like showing up everywhere and lately at all the Magic Cons I've been to as well. Brian David Gilbert, which makes the second Brian David X I've had on this show, yes. Which is an unusual stat to hit, but very cool nonetheless.
I truly am really just trying to increase the Brian David demographic in Magic. So far, it's doubled, and maybe, who knows, we might get some more soon. So if you are a Brian David, we welcome you.
Yeah, you know, it was funny as hell, because I remember at one of the early Magic Cons that you showed up at, you and BDM and Brian Kibler had a Brian off event at on the main stage.
Yes, that was on our first actually, which was, oh man, that was the first time.
So funny.
Yeah, very, very lucky to have such Brians to truly be involved. I think that was also great because as my first Magic Con, to be able to be like, hey, just because your name is also Brian, can you come do this thing with us? That was all it took. That was all it took for me to hang out with two of the most important people in Magic history.
Two of the most celebrated people in Magic just conveniently shared your name.
Yeah, very, very lucky.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, Brian David Marshall is a great guy to have a namesake because he's one of the kindest and coolest dudes in the game.
Truly.
But yeah, so I was because I've talked to Iffy, and Iffy is a really great and really funny dude. And I know that you work with him in the Dropout, and I'm actually in that kind of circuit of internet comedians. And you used to work with Polygon with a lot of my other former coworkers and buddies, because I've been in the games industry for a very long time. But yeah, and seeing you show up at Magic events has been really interesting because I didn't know that this was part of your nerd sphere, which is, I don't know, I guess 30 years of Magic, I should expect that most nerds have at least heard of the game, if not play it.
Yeah, it is funny because it has such a long history in that I can talk about different eras of my life of Magic where it's the first, in that there was the first time I played Magic, the big gap, and then the second time I've played Magic, which it seems like I've met a lot of people who have similar sort of stories.
Everybody.
Yeah.
Almost anybody who's been in the game for longer than 5 years can tell you that they were oh yeah, I started in 1994 and then I stopped when the first expansion came out or whatever. And then I picked up again at Innistrad and now I've been here for another 15, Nobody, there are a few people who are oh yeah, I started in Alpha and I never stopped. I'm
yes,
that's lucky for you, money bags, but the rest of us take lengthy periods of fallow time and come back.
Yeah, and I think that's so, it's part of the reason I think it's such a fun hobby in general. But the first time I started playing Magic was because my older brother taught me. I feel like this is also it's a very older brother coded game in general, I would just say. But
as an older brother who taught his younger brother, yes.
Yes, it is. It's how it is. But my older brother is 6 years older than me. And so it's only half a joke when I tell this to people where I'm when I first learned Magic, I was this game is terrible because all you do is lose. All you do is you play the game and the other person knows more of the rules than you and he has a better vocabulary because you're only 9 and he's 15. And,
right?
And so I truly, for the first few years, it was my brother desperately trying to get my older sister and I involved in Magic just so that way he would have someone else to play with at home, right?
Yeah, it turns out the biggest hole in Magic's history is that you need two people to play.
Exactly. And so he had all of his friends that he was playing with, but he obviously, this is the case for, I would say, most Magic players. Once you get hooked, all you want to do is talk and play Magic, and that was the case for my brother. And so he would come home and again, I remember, God, how many different starter sets had I been led through by my brother, right? The first way that I learned Magic is from a CD-ROM that came with the
Fifth
starter
edition?
decks from like I think 2000. It was around the era.
Oh yeah, the starter 2000, and it had like
Yes.
it came in a like almost PC gamer size
Yes.
box, had a CD and like a couple of intro decks in it.
Yep. And the tutorial video was like based in a fake laboratory where they like there was like I believe they had like a puppet that was like the rabbit monster thing. Like it was such a funny production that I also love, and like it's great because that was also because it made such a deep impact on me when I got back into it again as an adult. That was the first one I went to like and be like, this is how I learned how to play Magic. Let's see if it still holds up. And you know what? I think it holds up pretty well. If anything, I think like I look back at it and I have more like love for this like weird physically produced like tutorial video. It's just such a relic, and it's such a joy to watch still.
It's so they did so many campy things at the turn of the millennium to try to get people to play the game.
Yeah.
And like it's because Magic is like once you start playing and get it, it's got its grips in you forever. It's got the highest learning curve of like any game ever.
Yes.
And
yes.
I think finally with like Arena and Jumpstart, they're like, we got it. We figured out how to get people to play. But like that means we've had to deal with decades of weird rabbits and Wizardrix and whatever videos from 100 years ago.
It is. I mean, I think it's such a fun part of like now, you know, Magic seems to have settled into like understanding. Like, I feel like the people who were selling Magic didn't know what it was for the first 15 years, right?
It was just like, it was D&D with cards, right? Like, that's what we're doing here. Who knows?
Yeah, and like all the like, was it MTV or VH1? I can't remember. One of them had the rights to the Pro Tour for a bit, and they tried to like... They like tried to make it cooler and like have beach shots and like oh man, what an era. It's so great to look back on.
So like I'm old enough to have watched those the first time around when they were on TV, and I was just like, and I had been a hardcore Magic player for all that I was in middle school or like high school or something. And you're just looking at these things like, that's not at all what my Magic is like. I don't know what's going on. Because they didn't know how to show the game. Yes. They're like, we're focusing on the people because that's what sports is. You focus on the people. But it turns out it's all about the cards. And if you don't know how to explain the cards or anything, it's like, what the...
It doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't. Yes. It's like, I don't know. I mean, the Wizards had this moment where they tried to turn Magic into an esport. And they had like fireworks and they were playing it at PAX and doing all this. I'm like, guys.
Yeah,
I hate to break it to you, but this is not League of Legends. It's not going to work.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
But it is still like, it's fun to see the aesthetics of Magic change, not only in the like art and game itself, but in the way you present it. And it's like, it's funny, especially now, because, you know, I have now had the joy of getting to go to so many Magic cons in these past few years. And even just in the past like 2 years, I've watched it go from like still a big convention center to now an even bigger convention center to like,
I mean, Las Vegas was crazy, right? Like 26,000 people.
Unbelievable.
It's like, I remember the first Magic. I mean, I went to the first Magic Con in Philadelphia and it was like 10, 15,000 people. It was huge and it felt big, but it wasn't so big that we couldn't see anybody. This time around, running into anyone at all felt almost like you just lucked into a top deck. You're like, oh my God, you're in the same place. Let's talk for 12 seconds.
It truly, the entire weekend, like outside of the events I was running, like I would before I would tell people, I'd be like, oh, well, I'll see you at MagicCon. Even if we like don't plan it, I'm sure I'll run into you. This has now happened where like there were multiple people that I said I was going to get a game in with that I just did not even see. I did not even witness them in the place. And I saw them. I saw the pictures. They were there, but I couldn't find them.
There were people who were on the plane with me to MagicCon that I literally did. I'm like, I know you are going. We are talking about literally going. And once you get there, it's like vaporized.
Yes. Yeah.
It's crazy. It's almost like I was just sitting there like, dude, it takes 15 minutes to get from one side of the hall to the other. How do I do anything at all? This is...
budgeting in that time also. I would text people and be like, I'll be there in 10 minutes. And then I'd be like, I'm sorry, I got to start telling people 20 minutes. Like, I really can't be telling
like, we're going to be hiking. Like, I will see you at the court, like at the dawn of tomorrow. We will get there.
Exactly.
So um, when did you come back to Magic?
So it was around the time of actually my first MagicCon. It was so here's kind
Okay,
of the confluence of things, right?
yeah.
It has been I've been in a primordial soup of something that would make me love Magic again over the course of the past 15 years, but I didn't realize it. Where like I got really obsessed with a lot of roguelike deck builders and like, Slay the Spire, that kind of world started to become something I really loved, and I was playing a lot of it. And yet, even still, when people would talk about Magic, I still had that stigma in my brain of being like, well, no, that's the game you lose at. Don't play that game. It's not fun. And so whenever people would be like, oh, you want to play Magic? I would immediately be like, well, I can't add one more nerd hobby to my thing. I'm full up. I can't figure this out. But I also luckily have one of a very good friend of mine, Casey Malone, is big in the Magic space, but he just has been playing forever and also happens to know a lot of people in Magic. And he would always tell my fiance Karen and I, he'd always be like, and just so you know, if you ever want to play Magic, I'll help teach you. And just it's an open invitation, just in case at any point in time. And so that was always there. And then like, obviously I work with Iffy Wadiway with like actually, and there was on the PAX we were announcing. Actually, that was when Iffy was kind of getting back into Magic, and I was following him around the show floor and making fun of him for buying so much stuff, right? Like that was, and boy, I should have seen this coming. I should have known better. But I was like, oh, wow, you're dropping $100 on Magic the Gathering stuff right now. Look, get a load of this guy. And then I would say like a month after that, this was around, I guess this was like maybe like I can't remember when Lord of the Rings, the set came out, but
2020. Let me check real quick.
It would have been a little bit after the set had come out. Like it had probably already like slowed down a little bit, but obviously the
2023.
Yeah, so like around that time, the Commander decks had come out, and my fiance Karen is a huge Lord of the Rings fan. Has like read the Silmarillion multiple times, like a real serious Lord of the Rings fan. And so she was like, "Hey, Brian, if I buy the decks just because I would like to have them, will you learn to play with me?" And I very reluctantly was like, "I guess so. I guess I'll learn. I guess." And so we did get the Commander decks, and then I would say within a week of me again like digging back through my brain of being like, why don't we watch this old video, why don't we, oh, here's another way that we can remember, oh, and then like I luckily again because of Casey like had a very good pod to play with that was very friendly and like was helping us through all of the many triggers we didn't understand, or like they were very patient with us, and just through that, like again I would say from the start of us receiving the decks to like us building our own decks was maybe a month, right? Like we were, it took over everything for us, like very, very, very quickly. And I think that that's one of those things, like, especially, people love to give Universes Beyond a lot of flack, and I can understand where it comes from. But I also like, I would be hypocritical to be like that I can't, because that was the thing that helped us get in. And now I'm in this position where like, I love the in-universe stuff. I've read the book. I'm really enjoying getting deep into the lore, but I also have to recognize that I'm like, it took that to get me back in. And I mean,
there's this long-standing tradition in Magic of like people are always grumpy about, like they're always thrilled about the thing that brought them in and then super grumpy about everything else because it's like, this isn't the thing that brought me in. How dare you try to get other people to play?
Yeah.
And it's just, we can't, I mean, there's a lot of problems with UB and I'm not going to go into that, but the bigger thing is you can't deny how many people like finding a Warhammer or a Doctor Who, a Lord of the Rings thing, getting that player to come in and first they buy the thing because like, oh, look, I'm just collecting all of the things that belong to this property, I think. And they're like, oh, there's a game. Okay, well, I mean, I got a couple of these. Let's give it a try. And then like 3 months later, they're like, what the hell do you mean you traded 2 Tarmogoyfs for a Crucible World? How could you be so fool? I mean, and it just, the slippery slope goes really quickly.
Yeah.
But like, I think there's just so much value in bringing, like, Avatar: The Last Airbender was both a phenomenal set and an incredible vehicle for getting people who don't care about Magic to care about Magic.
Yes.
Like, my wife and son both love Avatar,
Yeah.
and my wife plays Magic mainly to humor me when I need to test it. But when we were jamming Avatar Jumpstart, she was like fully getting into it because it's like, look, it's the cabbage guy. It's like Aang and Katara, whatever. I don't know anything about Avatar. I just bought it because
no, you nailed it. You got three of the most important people: Avatar, Aang, Katara, most important, and then the cabbage guy. The three, the trifecta of characters. Yes,
I love the cabbage guy.
It's great.
But yeah, I don't know. There's so many cool stories of people I've run into who are like, yeah, man, Lord of the Rings got me into Magic, and now, or like Final Fantasy, even more than Lord of the Rings. So many Final Fantasy fans are like, dude, I've heard about this game my whole life. If you had told me it was like Triple Triad, I would have been here a million years ago. And I'm like, well, it's not, but welcome anyways.
Yeah. You can figure out ways to make it Triple Triad E.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think that like is one of the things that I love about Magic is that once you do need that first thing to break through, because it can be very impermeable. It can be very again, as someone who, you look at me and you're like, that's a guy who should have loved Magic his entire life, and it still took me like a while to get into it, right? Like I am the
target audience.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think that's, you just have to like it, the best kind of Magic proselytizers, the ones that try to bring us in. Like my friend Casey, he was very good at knowing what made Karen and I like the game, and he was able to emphasize those aspects. And I think that's like you sometimes you do need a guide. You do need someone to like bring you in. It can be very, very intimidating to like get into the hobby and be like, I'm going to a pre-release by myself, right? It was so much easier. Again, I am very blessed to have my fiance who also plays, and that like it makes it, I have a built-in friend whenever I go to a pre-release or whatever. But it certainly like it just eases the process of getting into it, and whatever it is that makes you get in the first way in the beginning is rarely going to be the thing that keeps you there. Where like I thought I was coming in and being like, yeah, I'll just make decks with big creatures and nothing else, and now I'm have totally changed it where I'm like, I like to build these weird esoteric decks where it's just like the win cons are purposefully difficult for me, but they're really fun if I get them. And yeah, you have to, it is such a like, it can seem daunting in how huge it is, but I think the enormity of Magic is also what allows this many different types of fans to come in.
I mean, like this is a story I've told on the show before, but it's my intro to Magic was when I started playing in 1995 or 4 or something like that. I was in middle school in my band class, and I go to recess, which is right before band, and I see some of my friends are sitting in the back and they're playing games. I was a longtime D&D guy, and I say long time, like I was 15. I had been playing since I was 10. That's long time.
Hey, a 30-year
life, right? Yeah. But like I heard a dude in the back say, "I throw a fireball at your dragon," and I'm like, okay, I know those words. I need to know what's going on, because I didn't know any of my buddies played D&D. And I go and they've got these cards with pictures, and I'm like, holy crap, it's D&D with art, and what's going on? And he explained the game to me and like explained the enemy colors and allied colors. And I was looking at the card Shivan Dragon. And I'm like, they spelled my name wrong. What the hell? And I'm like, what is this crap? Like, whatever the enemy of this dude is, I want. And he's like, blue and white. I'm like, yeah, let's go. I give him $20 and he gave me a blue and white deck. And like, I am the most green-red guy there is. I want big creatures and dragons. Dragonlance is my favorite like setting in the universe. Dragons. I love dragons. And because they misspelled my name for like 15 years, I avoided playing red at all because I'm like, those bastards, I'm going to teach them a lesson. I'm like, what lesson am I going to teach them?
That's so good.
And now I'm like, I'm like, why am I am like chaos dude. Why am I playing a control deck? What is wrong with me? I figured it out, but it's still like, it took me a very long time to get over that insult.
Yeah. I mean, again, this part of the joy of this thing is like, sometimes that's all it takes. Sometimes you just need to latch onto it, and then you've figured out how you are going to be playing the game for a long time. I would say that one of the fun things has been also watching like the creativity of Magic. Obviously, I'm not like a huge standard player, modern. Like I'm not a very
Sure.
competitive person in general, which is why I kind of gravitated to like Commander, just because it is a little easier to just socialize and like hang
Mm,
out. But it also, the other reason I love Commander is because it is so much about how you want to play. And it
yes.
also, I think, because it is a pot of four, it allows you to make a deck that might not be the strongest, but the other people can balance it out a little bit, right? And I think that
Yes.
that is one of the to me, a good Commander game is when every single deck gets to do one thing they were really happy about and then die. Like they need to do, but everyone needs to get one thing that they're happy about, and then you're good.
It makes me so happy to hear you say this because I helped run Commander for 5 years. I was on the CAG and I did a lot of work on this.
Mm-hmm.
And my entire driving principle is that in Commander, the ideal Commander game is 4 people sit down, have a great time, chat, laugh, talk. Their decks all pop off and do the thing. Somebody wins and we do it again.
Yes.
And it doesn't matter who won as long as your deck did the thing you set out to do, whatever it is. Like, I have these 12 cards and it's going to make 16,000 Thopters. How are you going to win? I'll figure that out later.
Yeah.
But like, that is just because like the joy is the camaraderie and the table and the being here and sharing this experience and watching your friends' decks pop off is just as much fun.
Yeah.
Because you're like, oh, like I could stop that, but I really want to see where this is going to go.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man, I love that so much.
Yeah, it's been great to, again, I feel like a lot of people have the misconception that like Magic is a very competitive play space, right? And you can find those spaces. If that's what you're really into, you can of course find those spots. But like some people might be turned off by the idea of like, oh, it's just about winning. It's just, that's obviously what I thought growing up. But like the first time that like I lost in a very funny way, and then that was all I could talk about for like the next few weeks was like, oh, I managed to kill myself, but in truly the most absurd, like this deck was not one where I should be able to deck myself, and I still managed to do it. And like that was a weird new achievement I gained from that deck that I built. Like
it's
that,
so good.
Yeah, it's just the stories that come out of it are, I think, what really locked me into the game.
I love that. Like, especially you sit down and you're just like, every Commander deck is, I mean, every Commander game, most of them, if you're not playing like competitive or whatever, is going to be an entirely unique set of pods. These 4 decks may never come together like this. These cards are never going to interact in this way, and weird things are going to happen.
Yeah.
And that's just like, it's such a perfect vehicle for, like, every Magic player loves a story. Every Magic player loves to sit there and go like, dude, you're never going to believe the ridiculous thing that just happened to me.
Yeah.
But like, it's so good.
Yeah.
So what is your experience like? Because you've been in like working with the Dropout guys, doing I'm actually doing a lot of these like really funny comedy shows on the internet, and coming to Magic Con and then putting these shows on live must have been a very trippy experience. What's that been like?
Yeah, it's been very funny, especially because of that. Like the first one that we did, that was like the first MagicCon we brought an actually to, and it was my first MagicCon of all time. This was maybe 6 or 7 months, maybe 8 months after I had like really gotten back into it. And so originally what happened was that Iffy, the host of actually, was like, hey, I'm setting up this MagicCon show. I know that you don't play Magic. Do you think you can still be the fact checker, or do you think that might be a little bit difficult? And I was like, hey, I think that might be a little difficult. I know enough about Magic to know that it's really, really in depth. Like I know just enough to be like, even my research is probably going to be not good enough for this. And so he, at that point, was like, well, I brought in Brian David Marshall to be the fact checker for it. Between him asking me and maybe, again, like within that same month was when I got into Magic really, really heavily. And so within a month, I recanted and was like, hey, Iffy, I'd really like to be the fact checker so I can go to MagicCon, please. And I was like, but make sure to keep Brian David Marshall on there. So that first one we did was both of the Brian Davids on one side, fact checking, but which was really helpful.
So good.
It was truly the best. And again, Brian David Marshall is like one of the best guys you can meet in the community. Like he's
100%.
such a delightful human being.
Yeah, his new game, Cataclysm Arcade, is really cool too. I'm very stoked for that.
It's so cool. I think that's also like the fun part about it is that you have like outside of obviously the game designers for Magic, everyone who is there is kind of a game designer in their own right, because when you're building a deck, you're kind of building your own game for whatever you're doing, right? You're building your own synergies, you're figuring out how you're winning, right? And so you get a bunch of very, very smart people in Magic, and also very silly people. And that's my favorite combination. I love smart and silly people.
Yes, 100% that.
Yeah.
It's wild because like, and you go to Magic Cons and you see people who are just like outside of the con, you would be very, very surprised to see them and like not surrounded by a host of a billion people. Like at Vegas, I was sitting next to Leonard Williams, who won a Super Bowl with the Seahawks, and he's just really stoked to show off this really blinged out Dragon foil he got. And I'm like, that's okay, so you're just a dork who just happens to be like 4 feet taller than me. Yes. But
I was saying this to Karen. It was like the thing about Magic is that like it is the only space you can play. Like I know this is going to sound like the most obvious statement in the world, but where I'm like, if you are interested in Magic, you have to play Magic in a space that has Magic the Gathering. There's no other space to play it. So like that's why you have like these weird moments where it's like the Post Malones of the world, the like Super Bowl winners, there was like
a whole Broadway show cast that just showed up to MagicCon.
Yeah. Yeah. I know of multiple people on SNL who are big into Magic, and it's just like there's no like, you know, I'm sure there are other games. There's tennis for everyone. And then if you're fancy or you go play tennis with the fancy people. But for Magic, you just have to play Magic with everyone. Yeah. You just have to. There's no other place you can do it. And I think it's like, again, a great equalizer in that way. And that sure, you could have someone come up with the 1/1 ring that's $2 million, but it's not going to play differently.
Yeah. Right? Like table. They still have to beat you. And exactly. You can use your like Weenies deck to just run through that $12,000 deck, no problem. It's, I mean, like, dude, I think there was a South American country whose president was a Magic player, and I'm like, that's a lot, man. Like,
yeah.
But we're all getting old, so of course, I mean, JD Vance, for God's sake, played Magic.
I know.
Less said the better.
It's truly, I think so that weird. Is like, the other thing I think I like about Magic, like you know, I think for most of my childhood, I definitely had this feeling that like certain types of socialization were better than others, right? Or more socially acceptable, right? And what I'm talking about specifically is like, if you go to a party and can hang out and talk for the whole time, you're better at socializing than someone like me who likes to go and have an activity that we socialize around. That is my bread and butter. All I can do, I love to have a thing we can all focus on and then also chat about, right? And it's taken me years, decades to get to the point where I'm like, it's not better, it's not worse, it's just a different kind of socialization. And it's also like a great way to do it. Like when Karen and I moved to LA, Karen, you know, we did the classic thing of like post online being like, hey, we're moving to LA. If you're there, we'd love to grab dinner. It's like, it's a new space, blah, blah, blah. We got like 5 people who were like, yeah, let's grab dinner sometime. Karen posted a non-captioned photo of Magic cards. Just pick a picture of Magic cards. She got like 15 different people being like, hey, you play Magic? You want to come play Magic sometime? Are you interested in playing Magic? And like that is like, since joining Magic, I socialize way more. I'm hanging out with people way more. I'm having a lot more fun. Like it just gives me, again, it's Gavin Verhey once said that like being able to take a Magic deck in your pocket, you can go to any country in the world and sit down with people whose language you don't speak and have no conception of and jam a game. And by the end of it, you're going to their house for dinner and just hanging out with their mom, right? Like it's like the greatest lubricant for nerds that's ever been. Yeah.
And
it's lovely.
Yeah, it's crazy because like like my wife and I, we have parties a lot, and we're both board gamer nerds and like video, like Magic players and whatever. And we learned a long time ago that our cohort of people who have a lot of difficulty socializing and conversing, unless if you give everybody like, hey, come here and we're all going to sit and play Magic, or we're all going to sit and play like, I don't know, some board game or something. Like my wife's like, we're going to have a Redwall themed tea party and make like little mouse tricks. And then we're going to play video. And like, I'm like, dude, nerds will show up and they will be like, here's a focus. And then suddenly we'll be able to talk like humans again.
Yeah.
It's so good.
It's the best. I would say that's the thing where like I will go to Magic events and then sometimes not even be playing Magic. Like
I don't
be like,
play Magic events.
You tricked me into being a normal party guy. How did you do this? Like I came here and I did the thing I'm supposed to do at normal parties, but just by having Magic around, it saved me. How did this happen?
Yeah, like I mean, I go to Magic cons and stuff, and I tell people I'm just cosplaying a Magic player because I just carry the cards and stuff. But if I sit down to play, then I'm locked into this pod and I'm talking to you guys, and it's great. But I can walk around and talk to like 100 people and just bounce around and have a great time. Yeah. And like I'll play Magic in the hotel later.
Yes, it's true. I have to ask you, because as a D&D player as well, I want to see if your experience is similar to mine in that I enjoyed tabletop RPGs as well, but I also find that when someone tells me about their experience at a tabletop that I was not a part of, it feels very similar to someone explaining a dream, right? Which is to say, there are no stakes to it. I understand it, but it's not necessarily the most interesting thing to me.
Okay, so I have been I've been in part of the gaming scene, the D&D tabletop scene for a very long time.
Yeah.
And I've been a person of note in different sections of tabletop for a long time. So people want to come up to me and tell me stories of their Magic games or their character or their campaign or whatever. And for years, I was like, I didn't know any better. So I would politely listen to like this half an hour long, like, okay, well, I need to give you 12 years of backstory in order to understand why Jimothy going and hitting the dragon with the pole that was made of moss was so cool. And I'm like,
yeah.
And later on, I realized that it's okay to just be like, you know what? That's sick, but I'm afraid I don't have the time to. Yeah. I'm so glad that you played.
But that is the case, right?
100%.
And I would say that, but I've been on the other side of it. I also want to tell people about those things because they mean a lot to me.
Yes.
But I would say that Magic is one of the only times that someone has explained to me like a combo or something. Again, something that's not even to the point of like, how grand a D&D story might be. But like someone will be like, oh, one time in my deck, I used this and it comboed off of that. And then I ended up with like 14 Emeritus of Ideations and like blah, blah, blah. And like in those moments, it's weird because when I hear those stories, I do run them through in my brain, and I do at the end go like, oh, cool, wow, wait a second. And I think part of it is like, there's like more specific mechanics and the rules are more laid out.
You know why? The reason is because when somebody is telling you a D&D story, there's a lot of context. There's these 6 other people who are at the table. There's a campaign. There's a whole world that you are not in privy to. And so trying to understand, like sometimes it'd be like, oh my God, I rolled a 1 and then I rolled a 20. Okay, I get that because I can do that. When someone's explaining a Magic story to you, you as a player can conceptualize both what these cards are and what they do without needing the context of the pod. You can also see like, I could put that into my deck and I know how this will work. So it resonates with you that much more than if you're sitting there like, listening to a long story about how these guys fought a dragon for 12 years. I'm like, that's sick. But like that depends on how good of a storyteller you are. Magic cards, I just need to know that you played Nira, which lets you put a spell at the bottom of your library with this card that lets you do the Emeritus, which lets you play Ancestral. You can cast that fake Ancestral and put it underneath and you're like, holy crap, I could do that in my deck. Suddenly the world,
it's like explaining a recipe. Like truly it's like, oh, well, have you tried putting a salt and pepper on your steak? And it's like, no, I never thought about that before. Right. Like it's like but you can immediately latch onto it and want to, again, it's the good and the dangerous thing about Magic is that the more Magic I play, the more I want to play Magic, because I'm introduced to more ideas, and I'm suddenly like, oh, I never ever wanted to play a blue-black deck, and then till I saw yours, and now all I want to do is build a blue-black.
Exactly.
And it's like, and I don't think I've had there's certain, I mean, I've been a fan of, I've been in a million fandoms my life, right? Like I've done a lot of nerd hobbies in my life, but Magic is the one that I would say has like really captured the creative aspect for me. And that is usually the thing I need in order to really continue with anything. And that's why Magic has taken over my life.
Right. Like it just feels like it's hard to run out of things to do, because there's always going to be you're going to sit down and somebody's going to have a deck and you're like, what the hell just happened? Yeah. And now you're like, do I run a deck to beat that? Do I try to, like, I've started doing this thing that I learned from Verhey once again, which is that when I go to a MagicCon, I'll sit down to play, and instead of bringing my own decks, I'm like, why don't you just lend me one? I'm not even going to look at it. I'm just going to see what the commander is, and then I'll draw it and play it. And first off, it puts you, everybody is so thrilled that you want to try out one of their creations, which is a great feeling for everybody. And then as a player and as like a person in the space, I get to look at this and be like, I have never in 1,000 years, I would have never put these cards together. I would have never played these cards. I would have glossed over them my whole life. And this is ridiculous. And then you feel really cool, and they feel stoked. And then everybody comes off like, even if you won or lost, like I did an episode of Shuffle Up and Play with Professor, and it was, I think it's the highest watched video they have of like me, Ristic Studies, Spice 8, and Prof. We take our favorite decks and then we hand them to the next player.
That's great.
And we just sit there and like you play a card, or like, Spice plays my zombie deck and drops a card and does a thing that I've been playing this deck for 12 years. I've never seen happen before. I'm losing my mind because it's the coolest thing I've ever seen. And you feel this joy as both a parent and as a player being like, look at this. It's the sort of thing that keeps me going, man.
It's so good. Also, a huge suggestion, if you've ever found yourself playing against salty players in a pod, truly that is the best thing to do, is to be like, may I play one of your decks this time? Because then even if they lose to it, they're like, but I built it so good. Right? I'm so smart, right? Like you got it makes it all a little smoother, and it's really, really great.
Exactly. It's such a good feeling.
Yeah.
Oh God, diffusing salt is like one of the most challenging.
Yes.
There's nothing a Magic player loves more than being angry.
It's true.
Oh man. So tell me about the other half of your career though, because like you've done a lot and you've like shown up in a lot of places, and especially recently I've been seeing your face like all over the place, and I think that's really cool. And I mean, I love it when folks in our industry succeed. So like you started in Polygon and you were making old video game videos, and like I loved the Polygon crew back in the day. They were so cool. That must have been a lot of fun.
It was. It was also such
Were you based in the Bay Area at the time?
So Polygon was in New York at the time.
Oh, was it?
But we were we were in like the financial district, which was always funny because it would be like me going to school with a bunch of suits, right? Like everyone, me and my little backpack to go talk about video games while everyone else is going to Wall Street. But it was a really great experience. Just like it was a weird time, I would say. Like I think I came into New York media when it was both like at its peak and going down, and like while things were kind of shifting all around. But it also like I came in at a point where I could come in and still learn stuff, right? Where it wasn't like I just needed to come in and be a perfect expert, which I think was very lucky for me, because I did learn so much about video production and just also working and being a part of a union and being a part of a company. Like there's a whole lot of things that I learned from that experience. But like the videos that I made there were again, I did not go to school to be a video producer. I was not a video editor at all, but like that's where I ended up.
And what did you do?
I studied writing, and cognitive science was what I studied. And so my original plan was to be like a grant writer. That was my that's what you do, is when you understand science and you understand writing, you go do the writing for the people who don't want to do it. And
Yes.
and so that was that I just had signed up for that. Like my first interview out of college was to write instruction manuals for biotech, right? Like that was my first job or first job interview. I didn't get that job. So yeah, it was and then I ended up again, after not getting a job for 8 months, was like, well, I'll just start video editing again, and then started to develop a following off of that. But yes, originally was just talking about video games. And
you did a video that was very famous about book reviews of Skyrim.
Yes,
which was crazy.
I read all the books that were in Skyrim, and they're not as long as you might think. I would say in total it was maybe the length of a very dense fantasy novel. But it was, so I did that, and that kind of became my thing at Polygon, was diving too deep into lore and losing my mind over it. And so then after that, I was independent mostly for a while, and then moved to LA with my fiance Karen, because we also write together, and we were doing writing work for television and other projects. From that, started working with Dropout, and then got to be the fact checker for Actually after that, which was very, very lucky. But it truly, so much of my job is just kind of recognizing when a thing pops up. Magic was one of those things that popped up for me, and it just happened to be at the same time that I was getting really into it. And then it worked so well in that I just was like, oh, I don't have to try to like this. I just
right.
do. And that is huge. And that is I would say I try not to do too many sponsored or big posts like that, but there are only times that I do that are for things that I really do enjoy, like Magic, or I also do some work with Pokemon as well. And truly, I think those are the only two games that I would do that for. Those are the games that I love. I really do. I'm not lying when I say that this is all I do after work hours, is just do Magic, play Pokemon. That's what I love. I would say I've joked with my older brother where I'm I think maybe I just ended up with the job that you wanted, because you were the one who taught me about Pokemon. You were the one who taught me about Magic. All of the other jobs that I have, Karen and I have, again, written on TV. We have written for video games. And I would say that my family is very supportive, and I'm very grateful for that. But the times that really matter are when I'm I made a video for Strixhaven, and I got an all caps text from my brother 30 minutes after, being you got to do a video for Magic. What the heck? How did you down? What are you it's that's the thing that matters.
Hell yeah, let's go.
Yeah, truly, I'm all I do is to impress my older siblings. So I'm just trying to make them like me and be yeah, you did a really good job.
It's so weird when that pops up. I'm friends with Brandon Sanderson, and one of the things I do is I beta read his novels. And so this is a very strange story. A few weekends ago, my son was having his coming of age ceremony, and we're doing a big Hindu puja and a big celebration and stuff. And my aunt shows up, and she's from far away, and she hasn't seen me in a long time. She's here to celebrate my kid or whatever. And she turns to me afterwards, and she's like, I was listening to an audiobook on the way up here, and I heard your name in the front. What the hell do you mean you know Brandon Sanderson? And I'm this is a nearly 60-year-old Indian woman. And I'm I didn't know you read fantasy novels.
Yeah.
I've read every last one of his. How dare you hold this out on me? And I'm well, okay, then let's go.
Yeah, that's so awesome.
It's so funny.
Yeah,
it's great, man. I don't know. Are you going to go to Amsterdam?
I am. I mean, again, this is one of those things where I tried not to seem too desperate, but every time that they were oh, and so these are the Magic Cons next year. We'll definitely have you for Vegas and for Atlanta. And I'd be yeah, and just if you have, I am free on that weekend in Amsterdam, just in case you might want me to be there too. I don't know.
Well, then we should definitely hang out when we're there.
Yeah, I think that that is also it is so funny that all of like the coolest work trips I've ever done have been for Magic the Gathering. There's nothing else. There's really nothing else.
Like, let me tell you, man, when you go to Europe and you're an American content creator, we're all used to thinking about the States and our content within the States. And I go there and I run into someone from Lithuania, like before I even get my badge when I was there. And he's like, I never thought I would meet you in person. I've been listening to you forever. And I've seen you. I'm like, in Lithuania?
It's so great.
They have Magic in Lithuania? And then I was like, of course they have Magic. They have the internet. Why wouldn't they?
Yeah.
But it's just like, you don't, like, going to Europe blew my mind. Because it's like, oh, this is a global game. I forgot. And it's crazy. It's so cool.
I do think that is, I'm really looking forward to that, because I think that it's so easy for me, especially as someone who lives in Los Angeles. And then like, I would say the main joke for Vegas Magic Cons is that it's like, I go to Vegas and then I play Magic with all the same people that I play in Los Angeles, right? Like, because all of them just drive up and then drive back down. And it's great. I love doing that. But like, Amsterdam does feel like one of the ones where I will have a chance, I hope, to really just like play with a community that I have
never met before,
a huge part of, right? Like,
it's
I think
so
that and I really, really am looking forward to that.
Oh yeah, dude. Every time I go to Vegas, I'm just reminded, man, I really should be based in LA because all my friends are there and I'm just up here in San Francisco by my lonesome. Like, okay, fine, I get it. But it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Anyways, dude, thank you so much for joining me today. This has been a real blast. And I really enjoy watching you at the Magic Cons. I think you're funny as hell. And it's been great to get to know you. If folks wanted to find you or your stuff, where could they go?
Absolutely. The easiest thing to do is just search my whole name, Brian David Gilbert. I truly like, I do YouTube and I have my Patreon, but I also have been bouncing around a bunch of other places. My favorite thing I would say these days is to show up in stuff that people are like, hey, why is Brian here? That's my whenever I see a comment that says that, I'm like, I'm doing my job right. I want to show up in as many strange places as possible. So hopefully you will see me in a place that you weren't expecting sometime soon.
Hell yeah, let's go. And as always, my friends, you can find me on Blue Sky at Shivam Bhatt. You can find this podcast anywhere podcasts are sold, or at YouTube every Tuesday. Thanks to my editor, Dan. You can also hear me on Shivam and Wheeler Love Magic or the Chronicles of Dragonlance podcast. And remember, my friends, it's not magic without the gathering, and we'll see you next time.